Good day, everyone. Welcome to our home economics online class. We are now in lesson 5, Evaluate and Control Hazard and Risk. I am Miss Marian Fonte, your teacher for today. At the end of this lesson, you are expected to first determine the effect of hazards, 2. Follow OHS procedures for controlling hazard and risk in the workplace. Identifying hazards in the workplace is only an initial step for occupational health and safety. To ensure the health and safety of everyone, a strict compliance and implementation of health and safety standards, public information, and practicing drills should be observed. For our first activity, I have here an illustration. Coronavirus do's and don'ts. In this time of pandemic, what are usual activities or things that we should do and we should not do? Using the set of illustrations below, write the phrase I must do or take or I must avoid in your notebook. We all know that hazards may happen in the workplace at your least expected instances, and these short occurrences might bring a long-term negative effect prior to its occurrence. If you will become knowledgeable to most of the hazards indicators, there are bigger chances to prevent hazard, or if not, at least to lessen the risk. One of the most effective ways to become aware of different hazard indicators is through preventive signage. You often see them in most establishments. These graphic symbols inform and warn your people about the occurrence of hazard. Preventive signage with slant line generally means do not or avoid. So here are some of the common preventive signages for each type. For example, in physical hazards, so we have the slippery surface, do not use the stair. And in chemical hazard, we have the radioactive or poisonous. Biological hazard, no eating or drinking, not drinking water. And in security hazard, switch off mobile phone, no authorized access. We also have preventive signage for fire electrical hazards like for example flammable, no smoking, high voltage, explosive, and caution. Let's proceed to hazard and risk identification and control skills. Just like any other workstation in the office, there are many hazards that can be expected from the day-to-day operations in the reception area. Oftentimes, hazards in the workplace are unpredictable. That is why every employee must become familiar of their working environment so that they can easily respond to unusual happenings. The first one is we have the ergonomic hazard, which is caused by repetitive actions. The nature of work in the office usually rotates on the use of productivity and tools. These sorts of tasks usually require repetitive actions that cause aches and pain on the body due to uneven body movements. So these are the control measures in ergonomic hazard. First, set up a workstation layout that will not cause office workers to do excessive reaching and stretching. Office desk must be within the elbow level. Position drawers, cabinets, and the file racks near enough to the station chair. Chair must be with adjustable armrest and height and can easily move to any direction. Second, place office tools, equipment, and supplies at the worker's most convenient location. Number 3, practice good posture and work habits. Number 4, use office lights suitable for the office location and in accordance with the color of walls and furnishings. Next is we have the biological hazards, which is caused by germs and viruses. Majority of corporate offices are contained in air-conditioned rooms with cool and humid atmospheres suitable for cultivation of various bacteria, fungi, and viruses. Many of these germs were carried by employees from the outside sources, which may cause harm to their body. So, control measures. First, follow regular cleaning schedules of office facilities, equipment, and other frequently used materials. Second, workers must apply personal hygiene and good grooming practices. And then we have the physical hazards due to poor housekeeping practices. Many accidents in the office are rooted from improperly maintained facilities such as defective files in carpet, oil spill from equipment, exposed electric wires, improper storage of chemicals, and others. Physical hazard in the workplace are simple, accustomed things that we do not give attention most of the time. So how can we control this? So these are control measures. First, follow appropriate cleaning and maintaining procedures for office facilities. Second, clean and repair defects immediately to get rid of accident. Number three, use safety signage to communicate possible hazards to the public. Number four, comply with the regular cleaning schedule. And number five, check for any possible barriers on the passageways. Next is mechanical hazard from defective equipment. There are various causes of malfunctioning among office equipment, but the most common reasons are the improper ways of operating them. Aside from the inconvenience, malfunctioning of machines sometimes creates bigger trouble like skin irritation from chemical spills, electric shock, and fire hazards. Control measures. First, read manufacturer's manual on how to safely operate the office equipment. Second, report defective machines and have them repair them immediately. Number three, mark malfunctioning equipment as defective. Unplug and keep it in a safe place while waiting to be repaired. Security hazards in dealing with guests and employees. Threat to personal security in the reception areas includes violence and aggression of guests, co-employees, or the public. Tension among people may lead to physical injuries and damage to properties if not handled accordingly. Furthermore, there are important files and documents in the front desk that must be kept with all confidentiality. Security hazards might destroy the credibility of the establishment as a safe place to stay in. So these are the control measures in security hazards in dealing with guests and employees. First, provide a logbook of guests and ID badges for security tracking. Number two, provide a clear copy of establishment security policy at the front desk. Number three, in case of encounter with hard-to-deal guests, ask assistance from your supervisor or have someone to accompany you as witness. Number four, never leave the reception area unattended. Number five, install security gadgets and cameras in the vicinity. Psychological hazard brought by stress and multitasking. Stressful tasks greatly affect the work efficiency of employees in the office. Time constraints in attaining targets worsen the situations. Some companies even challenge their staffs to perform two or more tasks at a time to keep them competitive. So these instances will result to hazardous effects on the physical and mental health of employees. Okay, so these are the control measures in psychological hazard. First, one office task at a time. Accomplish each task at moderate speed. Number two, find time to take focus and accuracy. Number three, try to engage in a variety of activity to get rid of mental fatigue. Number 4, do some stretching of arms, neck, and other joints of the body to energize. Let us proceed to personal protective equipment or the PPE. Generally, front office staffs wear prescribed uniforms for identification and distinction. This makes them real and presentable. Wearing a proper uniform also protects them from any kind of hazards present in the working area. So when we say personal protective equipment, it refers to the equipment that protects you against hazard in the workplace such as heat, noise, chemical, electrical, and any job-related health purpose. First is the head protection must be worn in areas around or where there is potential for falling objects, low-hanging obstructions, and electrical hazard. Next, arm and hand protection. You must wear hand protection when you are exposed to any of the following: skin absorption of hazardous materials, severe cuts and absorptions, chemical and thermal burns. C. Foot and leg protection used to protect worker from electrical hazards when working around water or there are slip hazard and doing maintenance activities. Next, hearing protection. You must wear hearing protection when you work and all around chillers, boiler room, and fan rooms. E. Eye and face protection used to protect worker from flying debris, dust flare and water, intense light, and emission of light and other radiation. Next is we have the protective clothing used to protect worker from dust and other pollution, cold weather environment, emission of light and other radiation. In front office services, areas such as housekeeping, food and beverages, engineering, and some other departments use different personal protective equipment or the PPE and clothing such as prescribed uniform and footwear, helmet, gloves, apron, jacket, pants, and the like. These PPE are used as a standard procedure and requirement to help reduce the exposure of workers and stop to any kind of hazard. Next, workplace emergencies. Fire and earthquake hazards in the workplace may happen during times we least expected. These incidents can injure or take away lives and destroy properties. The best defense against this is by having routine emergency preparations. Some of the basic procedures to be observed in conducting emergency and evacuation drill are as follows. Planning before the drill. First, form an emergency response team composed of the following officers who will perform the designated responsibility in the case of fortuitous emergency situations. Emergency evacuation officers. If emergency evacuation officers is responsible for ensuring the safety of employees upon leaving the building and checking the safety of the place before employees go back to the building after the drill. Next is we have the floor leaders. So the floor leaders ensure that no single person is still trapped or staying in the building during the emergency drill. The office must have the complete list of employees occupying the building. And then we also have the floor assistant. Floor assistant coordinate with the floor leader in assisting the employees during evacuation, especially people with disabilities and injured. Two, conduct an orientation for the emergency response officers to emphasize the vital rules in the emergency drill. Number 3, determine exit doors, stairs, and assembly or evacuation area, and check if there are any possible causes of blocking upon congestion during emergency. Number 4, make emergency evacuation floor plans and post them on a designated area in the building. Number 5, orient the employees about the proper conducts to be observed during the emergency situations. During the emergency drill, first, sound the alarm continuously to signal the public about the emergency drill. Second, floor leaders and assistants enforce proper emergency drill and conduct an evacuation procedure. Assist the evacuees upon leaving the building and gather them in the evacuation area. Check every rooms of the building for any remaining employees. And do head counts of the evacuees and report casualties in needs of first aid to the emergency evacuation centers. Proper emergency conducts for employees. First, in case of earthquake, do not leave the building right away. Wait for the earthquake shocks to subside and protect yourself from falling objects by hiding to any place in the office that cover you up. Second, upon evacuation, stay focused and do not panic. Never push other evacuees along your way, for this action might worsen the congestion and may result injuries to many. Number 3, look for anything hard yet light that can be used to cover your head while walking. Otherwise, use your hands as cover. Number 4, never attempt to return on your office to get personal belongings or save other lives. So these are the actions after the emergency evacuation drill. Emergency evacuation officers prepare necessary reports such as total head count of evacuees, number of casualties, and the like. They will inspect the building, floors, and assist employees in re-entering the building after declaring it safe to get in. Emergency response team will meet to evaluate the emergency drill undertaken. Workplace hazards can come from a wide range of sources. Also includes practices or conditions that release uncontrolled energy. Hazard is different from risk. Hazard is any source of potential damage, harm, or adverse health effects on something or someone, while risk is the chance or the probability that a person will get harmed or experience an adverse health effect if exposed to hazard. The effective way to control hazard are substitute dangerous chemicals, equipment, and methods with safe and less hazardous ones. Prepare and develop hazard control plan, evaluate the existing plan, and wear personal protective equipment. Safety signage in the workplace identifies and warns the workers who may be exposed to hazards in the workplace. It can assist in the communication of safety important instructions. Okay, so that's all for our lesson 5. I hope you learned something on how to control hazard and risk. So thank you and God bless. Keep safe, everyone.